He became the black sheep of the family, so to speak. You know, the relative that does something the rest of the family doesn't approve of and never gets invited to family gatherings, but is always talked about. My father and granddaddy worked together for a construction company and rode to work together. My father and granddaddy would often argue, and if you were around when they were, you wished you could make yourself disappear. In 1978, the construction company moved its headquarters down to the Bay Area, and this meant that my father and granddaddy were out of work. My granddaddy went ahead and retired, and my father found employment elsewhere. By this time, my father and granddaddy weren't on speaking terms, even though we lived next door. All those years of being exposed to all the bad mouthing about my granddaddy and Shannon by my family made me bitter towards my granddaddy, and I resented Shannon because she was trying to replace my grandma. In 1983, my father was going to finally retire, and my mother was having a little get-together. However, no one invited my granddaddy and Shannon. Matilda, I have to run down to the store to buy some more stuff for your dad's retirement party, and you'll need to watch the food on the stove, my mother said to me as she was walking towards the car. After she left, I got to thinking about how bad I've been treating my granddaddy, all because I listened to my relatives always talking about how bad he was. I decided that I would try to resolve this with my granddaddy and family. I walked across a lot that divided our houses and peeked over the fence. I had to stand on my toes, but even then, I could barely see over the fence. "Hey, Granddaddy, you back there?" I said in a loud voice. "Is that you, Matilda?" Granddaddy replied. "Yes, it is. Anyway, I came over to let you know that my father is retiring today, and I thought you and Shannon would like to come over about 5:30 for drinks and a bite to eat," I said. There was a pause of silence. "Sure, Matilda. Shannon and I will be over." "Won't your father be upset if we come over? Did your mother tell you to invite us?" Granddaddy asked. "No, she didn't. Please come to the front door." "See you then," I replied. After I got back into the house, my mother was just pulling into the driveway. I helped her unload the groceries and took them into the house. We finished getting stuff ready for the party, but I did not tell her that I invited Granddaddy and Shannon over. The doorbell rang at 5:30. Granddaddy and Shannon were on time, and I had my fingers crossed, hoping that everything would go smoothly. "Now, who could that be? Everybody is here already," my mother said as she walked towards the door. She opened the door and stood there for a few moments before saying anything. "How nice to see you again, Jack, Shannon," my mother stammered, still standing there in shock. Matilda invited Shannon and I over for Bill's retirement party. I didn't know if it was a good idea, but Matilda insisted. You know how Matilda is. When she gets going on something, she just doesn't give up, my granddaddy said. "Oh, where are my manners? Please come in. Bill is running a little late and should be here shortly. Go out to the beer garden and Matilda will make you two a drink," my mother said. My father arrived home about 5:45. As he came strolling into the beer garden and saw my granddaddy and Shannon there, he just kept on walking and went into the house. "What the hell is my father and Shannon doing here?" my father asked me very angrily. Matilda invited them. I think she's trying to get you to make up with your father and forgive him for marrying Shannon. Please don't be angry with Matilda. Go out and talk to your father, at least for Matilda's sake," my mother replied nervously. "All right, I will, but Only for Matilda, my father said. My father sighed. My father went out into the beer garden, and then he and my granddaddy went outside. I peered out the window, and to my amazement, they were standing there talking and laughing. Then, all of a sudden, they began to hug each other. Oh, they've made up, and now everything can return to normal. However, there was still only one problem. I still resented Shannon because I thought she was trying to replace my grandma after her death in 1972. However, in late 1993, when I was going through some old stuff, I ran across a letter that my grandma had written to me back in August 1972. Dear Matilda, I love and miss you very much. I probably won't be home for Thanksgiving, but the doctors say that I may be home in time for Christmas. Sorry for the bad handwriting, but I have had so many blood tests done that my arms and hands are very weak and it's hard to hold the pen. Please take care of Granddaddy and do not let him get lonely. Make sure he has clean clothes and gets decent meals every day. Also, I know that God is calling me home, and even though I love you and your sisters very much, it makes it that much harder to answer God's call. Please do not hate Granddaddy if he finds someone else after I'm gone. Well, Matilda, Grandma is tired and must rest, but will write you again soon. Lots of hugs and kisses, Grandma. After reading this letter, I started to cry because after all these years, I finally realized that if it wasn't for Shannon, my granddaddy would have given up on life. I knew deep in my heart that I would have to make the biggest apology of my life. I apologized to Shannon by writing a short letter. Dear Shannon, I'm sorry for the way that our family has treated you, especially me. You were there for Granddaddy when he needed someone after my grandma passed away. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being there and taking care of Granddaddy all these years. Please accept my sincerest apologies and hope to see you at Thanksgiving so we can talk some more. I hope you will forgive me. Lots of love, Matilda.